Hi, everybody.
Pause mode.
Hi, it's Amy and Jim for Make It Monday. Welcome. And we are doing a little bit of serging today.
Yeah.
Right, Jim is a master technician when it comes to garment construction. No, let's call it that. And so he has a couple tips on doing a roll hem with your serger. So your projects, garments, sewing like napkins, things like that, it all looks really professionally well done. So today we're using the Brina L860 serger, just so you can compare. You could just need a basic 3-thread serger for this, right?
Or even two-thread.
Two-thread. Doesn't matter, 2-thread, 3-thread, whatever makes you happy. All right, put the thread telescope back up again. All right, where do you want to go, Jim?
Okay, well, basically for the machine setup, what I did was I followed the screen, or you're going to check with your owner's manual how to set up for a basic 3-thread overlock, which pretty much every machine has. You'll have the stitch finger exposed, or in this case, we have the regular finger pulled back, so we have the little tiny rolled hem finger.
So underneath there's three little fingers, right?
Right.
We're going to pull two away. Mm-hmm. And with the right needle position, we're just stitching on one pin, basically. So it's skinny.
And also, just some of them also have like their stitch finger removable. So you have to come in here and pull this finger out.
Right, yeah.
So it just depends on your machine, your brand. Check with your owner's manual, check with your dealer. And the setup for the tensions, if it's like our machine where it's automatic, it'll set it up for you. Otherwise, your needle will be in like its normal tension. Your upper looper, which is the one that's doing all the rolled hem action, is going to be a little less tension. And your lower looper, as it's going to pull the thread to wrap around, is going to be on an increased tension.
Right. The lower looper is the bully. He likes to pull everybody around, right?
Yeah.
So
he pulls into the
you
back.
Loosen your upper, tighten your lower, and then that's how you're going to get a good roll hem.
The reason for that is, let's see if I can do it this way. Yeah. This is my stitch finger. And basically the fabric is rolled over, and that's what the thread will do, is roll it over this finger.
Right. So a roll hem is different than a narrow hem.
Correct.
Yeah. So we're forcing the fabric to take a tumble to the back.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's good. Take a tumble. I like that.
Very good.
And then I went with the settings on the machine for the stitch length and the stitch width, because I'm going to have the blade engaged just so it cuts off everything. So my blade is up, so it'll trim off, give me a nice clean edge.
Okay.
And I do got one sample done already where I have it with a basic 3-thread overlock, and you can see that looks pretty good. But one thing when Amy and I were talking about this, I noticed sometimes with some of my projects that if I'm working with like a silky fabric, organza, whatever, that it kind of pulls apart. Or if you're going around a curve or on the bias, it'll ripple. Now, a lot of the machines will have differential feed. And basically what that means is the machine will adjust for the curve by not allowing the fabric to pull and stretch. It'll keep it nice and smooth and flat. And I have a little trick for making it so that it doesn't pull apart or fray on you. What I like to do is I will go and sew on my machine a straight stitch with regular stitch length, regular sewing machine thread in the machine, and I will sew just within where I want to serge. I'll then take it to the machine and feed it in, and as you can see here, this way, it's the rolled hem started and it's trimming off. And basically what I did was I rolled hem over the stitching. So the needle is falling to the left of that running stitch. And then it's trimming off the excess just like we normally do. And that thread will remain in the seam so that no matter how hard I pull, it's not going to stretch.
Right. I think a lot of when people do a rolled edge, they just assume automatically they're just going to work on the edge of the fabric, just put it in there and go. And sometimes the results is sketchy at best, right? So that's why this is a terrific tip. And also, if you're going to do a 5/8 of an inch, you need to hem it 1 inch, 2 inches, whatever you do, especially like formals, right? You got to take a chunk off. It's good to run the straight stitch at the right hem and then roll hem it. And then it's perfectly stabilized. Absolutely.
So it's like understitching in your border design.
Yeah.
So the fabric doesn't move.
Right. So you can see we've got where he is top stitched or straight stitched. You use just a normal stitch length?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you can see the roll hem. You can see a little bit of that red line through there. This is very stable, and it kind of controls the pokies a little bit, because if you look at this fabric, it's very shreddy.
No, pull on this one. I did it on the bias.
Okay. Oh, this is even better. So this is you can see the triangle. So it's on the 45 degrees, which is the bias, and the fabric gives, but the hem doesn't give. And what does that mean? Is the fabric is going to stretch around you, but your hem is never going to wave.
And they're not going to pull off.
It's not going to do a lettuce, and it's not going to shred off the edge of the fabric.
Unlike this one, technique. It doesn't have the thread underneath it.
So this one is without the understitching. And when I pull on it, see what happens? Automatically, you get a lettuce leaf. You got a lettuce hem, and that's not what you want, especially on a woven or something super pretty.
You want to show that?
Yeah, let's go full camera for this.
Full camera? Okay.
So this is one of Jim's creations. It's kind of hard to see. There we go. Get rid of that.
Okay.
This beautiful gown, right? And you said it's a copy of...
If it's a copy of a gown that Terry Hatcher wore from Desperate Housewives when she went to the Emmys, and her original was like $5,000. And the whole dress was made on a serger. And you could see here, even like on that sheer chiffon, I got a really tight rolled hem. I thought of it this way. I have shiny fabric, so I put my embroidery thread in my machine.
That's super smart.
So and shiny fabric.
As long as it's not construction, right?
Right.
Then it doesn't matter. Let's see if we can lay this here. So you can see how pretty that bodice is with a little glitter on there. And then when you look at the hem, which black on black is hard, but you can see how gorgeous that is. And that really is considered a couture finish now. I mean, you buy an $800 prom dress and that is your hem. There's nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Not even that nice.
No, exactly.
And that dress has been it's like 15 years old. It's traveled all over the country.
Right. And people have handled the crap out of it.
A lot of it. Yeah. And they pulled on it and it does not come apart because it has that understitching in it. And I have to share, I made the whole dress for $26.
That's crazy. All right, let's talk about the stretch thread real quick. I'll let you we'll do unstitch a quick sample since it's already in there.
And basically, well, we could see and
They give you a sample?
Well, we took that one away, but we could use this one right here. You can see how we have the rolled hem, but it's a little open. If you're going for a contrast, you'll notice it more.
Yeah. So a lot of times the thread doesn't fill in. And when you try to adjust that, like a satin stitch for an applique, it balls up and it becomes very ugly and loose. Like the stitching is crappy looking.
Exactly. And one of the benefits of going and getting a more expensive computerized machine over a mechanical serger is the mechanical will let you override the settings.
Right.
And you can go to very short stitch length and jam up your machine.
Right. You can make a mess. If you take that down to 1, you got to roll hem from AG double toothpicks. We're not going to say it because it is falling off the fabric. It's, it's not behaving. But the stretch thread from Maxi Lock is a life changer.
Yeah. And it's like a fluffy yarn.
Right. In the 30 years we've been doing the circle tree napkins, we've been using the stretch thread. So stretch thread from Maxi Lock is really the best quality. There's not too many people who make it, so let's go there.
Yeah, and I just use the regular settings for rolled hem on my machine, and I'm just going to sew a little slower because when I work with a decorative thread, I go a little slower.
Right. And so a stretch thread, lycras, bathing suits, knits, baby clothes.
Yeah.
I even put it in the bobbin of my sewing machine. If I am like twin needle hemming or something, it really does a good job with
I like it in both loopers if I'm putting elastic in. So it makes the elastic soft.
Yeah, you got to have stretch. And that's what that thread does. It stretches without popping. Where if you want to do a roll hem with a metallic thread, first, God bless you. And then secondly, it's gonna pop and snap and break if there's a lot of movement. So now you can see how pretty that is.
So it filled in all the gaps.
Yeah, and see how nice the back looks. And I wish it came in more colors, but it's not as popular as regular sewing thread. So we do carry all the colors that the stretch thread does have. So, but yes, that is a stunning way to do a rolled edge. So let's see if we have any questions looming over here. Hi, Franny. Hi, Bonnie. Paula. Miss Joanne Banco's on here from Let's Go Sew. We love her. Check out her blog. She's
she's great.
Great. And her blog. She's doing a podcast too. Hi, sweetie. Hi, Linda.
And Linda said she needed the information. Good.
Good, Linda. Linda's one of our Canadian cruisers. So
oh, nice.
Super. Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Oh, we forgot one thing too.
Oh, what did we forget? Go
Belt
ahead.
loops.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So if you're working on a gown, because a lot of times when you get dress, formal wear, or even just any type of dress in a store, and usually if they have a belt with it, they'll have like a little bit of thread on the side holding the belt on. That's what I used. I just had set up for a 3-thread rolled hemmed it once, took it back, rolled it over it again, and built up a cord that you could put in the seam and make your own thread belt loops, just like in the factory.
Right. And then also like when you attach linings to
a
coat, but I take that and I run it and I put it on an index card and I just keep rolling the index card and I'll stash this. So I have several colors of it.
Oh.
It's you can couch over it. If you need a decorative stem on a applique or around a flower, there's a lot of uses for that. Exactly. So that's the scoop. So apparently people don't know I'm live today.
I shut my phone
I
off.
know. I will do that. All right, everybody. Have a terrific day because the more you know,
the more you sew.